Hey everyone. Welcome to a new series I'm doing. Somebody on the Discord is running a Highlander Trios event, and I found some teammates and I'm gonna participate. We're gonna play, I think three team matches. So whichever team wins at least two of the three matches that take place wins the team match. Then you carry on and do that three times. We all had to lock in deck lists beforehand, and I've locked in Blue Moon. A couple changes from my last list, but still very similar. We have a couple new toys in Consult the Star Charts and Quantum Riddler. Um, Both just fit the game plan of the deck really well. Consult the Star Charts is probably one of the best card advantage spells we've seen in quite a while, and I think Quantum Riddler is uh, a really good threat for the deck. Uh, I really value being like having both a late game threat and an early game release valve that you can get card advantage out of. Um, yeah, so hopefully the games go well and you enjoy this series. It's nice to play with like a little bit of pressure on the line. So yeah, hope it goes well and enjoy the matches. First trios match, Waiting Room. Three of the four delve spells in the opening hand is not what we want to see. And as is seemingly tradition, we're on the draw. So I think we've got a mulligan this one. Hand just does next to nothing to the worst, whatever the worst two of these cards are probably just not going to be functional. So we don't know what our opponent's on. This hand is much better. They mulligan to 5. So if they're mulliganing that aggressively, it's less likely we're gonna get run over. I'm definitely keeping. I think the two, well, there's like three choices between what I'm putting on the bottom. I'm never putting any of these lands on the bottom. I'm not putting Drain on the bottom, and I'm not putting Oculus on the bottom. I think castable counterspell is also too good to pass up. And I think Brain Surge is what we want on a mulligan. They're on a mull to 5. We can probably find another removal spell, and we also need to find a red source, so this bolt doesn't really cover us super early anyways. So yeah, gonna put that one on the bottom. Hopefully it works out. We're on the draw as well, so once we hit a third land, I think we're in pretty good shape. Snow-covered mountain. A little spooky. Sinkhole, okay. So it's tough to say exactly what they're on from this, but it looks kind of mono ready based on the multiple snow-covered mountains. There are not a ton of decks that play multiple snow-covered mountains. Don't know what flavor of red exactly. That's problematic. That is definitely one of the ways we lose. I'd really like to draw a fetch land, because then there's a world where we could find a red source, mana drain their play, and then Sinkhole Delilia, but yeah. They found a good sequence. This is a matchup where the play matters so much. Like if we're on the play this game, just none of this gets to happen. And they almost definitely drew the Soul Ring, because they probably still just would have played Soul Ring turn 1, I think. Really want to draw a land. Welp. Never lucky. We're not out of it, but it's getting pretty dire. Thankfully, they're not hitting exceptionally well off this Lelia, but Reckoner, yeah, I'm gonna drain this just to try to give us the most outs. The fact that Boros Reckoner is in their deck makes me feel a bit better. Alright, so we found a red source. We want the Lava Glide for sure. And I think we basically have no choice, but we just have to sinkhole this immediately. And pray this works. We'll leave the card in our bin to try to get to Oculus sooner. So we managed to barely squeak our way out of the immediate bind, but we're shields down for this turn. We need to fade a draw step. All right, now I feel better. I'm definitely sitting on counterspell here. I think the odds that they have a removal spell is very, very high, and this Arcanist doesn't have a lot of value. Worst case, I will just rip off the Brain Surge end of turn and try to get something going with that. Okay, Steam Vents. Force of Negation's a nice one. I mean, realistically, we're just going to end up with all of these cards. We can put Brotherhood End back, then Steam Vents back, I guess. I'm going to play this Steam Vents untapped, I think. We need the tempo, and 6 and 8 are close enough to the same. It does leave us a world where Double Bolt kills us, but we have a bunch of counter spells. So Kenzen's awkward. I'm contemplating taking control of one of these. I think I'll do it in beginning of combat, if that's an option. I don't think they have a lot going on, and I think I just need to preserve life total at this point. If they want to use a removal spell on the spirit, they can. Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't think I could take two a turn. Yeah, maybe I'll go for the Dread Horde now. It blocks. If they remove it, we're just getting closer to Oculus. Bolt. Contemplating counterspelling this, but I think I can afford to let it resolve, honestly. I'd rather leave up counterspell, because if I counterspell there and then they draw a dragon or something, we just die. Whereas we got burn spells covered. Looks like they're flooding out pretty hard as well. Guess the one consideration was if I counterspelled that and they did nothing, which is what happened, I could have untapped and gone Oculus. But we drew the Vista. Definitely get island. And we don't need to leave up red mana, so we'll just leave up our islands. And we'll just get this Dingus in play as soon as possible. And now I feel like we got a pretty good vice grip on the game. Gonna be really hard for our opponent to get out of it at this point. We got Spell Pierce, Force of Negation, Counterspell up. They've been drawing pretty poorly, yeah. They saw the writing on the wall. On to game 2. Stealing that game on the draw, big deal. They had some unfortunate mulligans, but all right. Storm-Carved Coast, Mountain. Kind of a slower hand again. The fact that we have Force of Negation that sort of counters some soul mana starts they mulliganed. I think I'm gonna keep this one. I think it's good enough. I have 2 removal spells, 2 card advantage spells, and the Force if I need it. And I think having the Force is really good for when I try to turn the corner. I think they're pretty likely to cycle this relatively early. The only 2 spells in my deck that hits are the Forces, so definitely gonna get our blue source in play. It would be kind of annoying if they like try to like fast mana out a Blood Moon on this exact turn, but for Ferocidon, that's pretty okay, I think. Not the worst for us. Yeah, and we'll just consult here. We just want to try to get through our deck. This Ferocidon doesn't represent the most intimidating clock, so we can afford a couple hits for sure. Put one of these into my hand. Definitely the Polluted Delta. So Blood Moon is on the bottom, but we're probably gonna shuffle it right away. You know, I don't think I want to stock up. If I stock up, I would have to discard. So yeah, we don't want to stock up for sure. If we consider and surveil the card to our bin, we could Magmatic Sinkhole this Ferocidon, which is kind of appealing. I think I can afford to take another hit here. And that way we can keep our Flame of Anor if we want to, which I think I will do. I mean, we'll wait and see, I guess. I just think it's unlikely that Tamiyo lives. I don't think it's Tamiyo o'clock yet. Yeah, and I will just Sinkhole this now. I want to stock up now. Well, they've got basically nothing going on. I'm really surprised they haven't sacked this Vexing Bauble. If they have that much nothing going on, like, may as well, right? VV seems good. And do I want Sink into Stupor or Dress Down? Probably Dress Down. It's cycles and it's cheaper. Then we will definitely play land. And we're once again shields down, but we have Flame of Anor for anything they play. There goes the Bauble. And so now Force of Negation's back online. This back to basics is basically just earmarked to get pitched to Force at the earliest convenience. It's kind of rough. Last game they just drew nothing but lands. This game it looks like they're maybe land light. But I feel like we're on the edge of turning the corner here. Yeah, I feel like if we got to untap there, I think we're in pretty good shape. Yeah, I guess we'll get VV in play. Actually, I kind of want to wait till I can cast Flame of Anor with VV in play. I think I'm kind of fine passing. Like, is that crazy? Because if I play VV and they try to kill it on my turn, it's just gonna die. If they kill it on their turn. Yeah, I want to wait. Well, I guess I can dodge a bolt with Dress Down. And then, alright. No, I talked myself into it. Just get it into play sooner. Getting both modes on Flame of Anor doesn't really matter when they have nothing in play. Like, if they still had the Bauble in play, I might have waited a turn. But now the shields are really up. Alright. What does this do? Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented. Deals damage to each player. So it's going to deal me 1. Am I supposed to counter this? I think I can just untap and kill it, and that's better, right? I think so. I like it better. Oh yeah, it's not even going to deal me 1. Good job, Dress Down. Yeah, now I will get the Flame of Anor bonus. What a day. Flame of Anor. I will draw 2 and deal 5 to their creature. I will draw 2, deal 5 to that. VV gets a counter. I'm not going to use the mana yet, but I could cast a Chonky Pyroglyph. That's pretty appealing. Or I could go for a Brain Surge now. No, Pyrogosh just puts them to dead next turn. That's got to be better. We have 2 forces in our hand. Let's just get this over with. Yeah. They saw the writing on the wall. 2 relatively quick games. They're closer than they seemed, but that's probably how those games go. Yeah. 1-0 so far in my portion of the trios event, doing my job so far. We'll see you for round 2. All right, everyone, welcome back for the second trios match. We're playing against a pretty well-known Jeskai player. They often play like a Stoneforge Mystic package and are well known for playing Price of Progress in their deck. I think it should be a relatively good matchup for me. Usually in blue recall type mirrors, the deck that is more blue is usually favored, and I believe I probably have more blue cards, so let's hope that rings true today and we can take it down. Lost a die roll, as is tradition. This hand is just about good enough, I think. Yeah. We'll play this and just go for a Surveil. Try to find something earlier to do. Basically anything for 2 mana or less we're interested in. Really hoping they just pass here. If we can get to turn 3 with them having an empty board and us having invert polarity, I'm gonna be a fan. Don't need that one. That is our 3rd island for Mystic Sanctuary, but yeah. All right, I am gonna fire off the Gitaxian Probe here to try to find a thing. Ponder. Yeah, I think that's something I want to do now. If we can find a Bolt or a Spell Pierce or a Spell Snare or something, that would be good. But we gotta start. Okay, these are very good. I think I'm gonna go. We want the Force of Will. I think I'm gonna go Sinkhole, Borrower, Force. No, don't shuffle, draw a Force, and now we're cruising. Hopefully just passes again. Seems somewhat unlikely, but yeah, we can't really let this one resolve. This is another one where if we were on the play and got to hold up invert polarity and this is the test spell, we're just so far ahead. So we definitely have to force this. I think my plan is to hold up invert. We have Brazen Borer, which we're about to draw. So I think I'm gonna pitch VV here. I think this is a matchup where like you're very likely to get to the point of just casting Lorien Revealed. And I think I'm gonna put some value in that. And Jeskai has a deck that's removal dense enough that I think it's pretty likely that they would have a way to remove VV. And so I think that was our lowest value card. Invert Polarity obviously being our highest. One of the reasons I put Brazen Borer next is because if we didn't have to force there, then we could have potentially pitched the Brazen Borer, but Neil up, down. Ooh, Quarry Mountain Monastery is a good one. Maybe they're on a slower version. I think here I am just gonna play out the Borer. Because I get to untap with 4 mana, they're not... I imagine they aren't especially excited to kill it now. So we at least get 1 whack in. How happy am I to have Force of Will? Only kind of, I think. I think I'm fine just playing this Otawara and waiting on this Mystic Sanctuary. I think there's a world I want to Mystic Sank one of these 3 cards in hand. This could be good for us. At least tap them out. They need a counterspell. Pretty likely they have one, but Triumph is something I'm interested in inverting. Okay. So they lapsed our invert. We can Sinkhole the Triumph. But we can't Sinkhole the Triumph and hold up invert unless we cycle this Lorien Revealed. So I think I might use this turn to cast Lorien Revealed. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Mystic Sanctuary Force back on top. Then I'm going to cast Lorien Revealed. I think it's pretty likely to resolve. Okay, they did have a force. Somewhat unfortunate, but... My read was they didn't have a force because I think they would have... Oh yeah, Force of Negation makes sense. Because they would have forced to get their Teferi through. But that's okay. Still got a 2-for-1. We're gonna take a whack from Triumph. Spellseeker's a good one. Yep, they gotta do it now. Wonder if they exile. Yeah, that's a really heads up play. Exiling something right now. Unfortunately, we're drawing a force, which we don't want to draw. Whew. Unlucky. I think we just have to do this now while they're tapped out. Yeah, that's fine. And hope we can have some good ones on top. That's pretty much what we need at this point. We're pretty far behind after the force into recall. Just about need to find our own recall and hope theirs was subpar. But they're passing pretty quickly, so that's good news. That's not ideal because we can't cast it. But there are worse cards in the deck we could have drawn, so. I apologize if you can hear my dryer going into overdrive in the background. Activating Quarry Mountain with Triumph in the top 6 is a little risky. But they probably don't have a cheap removal spell. Mountain was a pretty good draw. What are the odds they have counter? Pretty high. Okay, so if they cast Triumph, I probably just hard cast Force of Will. Then I'm trying to determine if playing Fury now is good or not. If they have a counter, they'll be able to counter back. Then they have Triumph. I have Invert and Fury. If I draw any damage removal spell, I can kill likely both Spellseeker and Triumph. Have a Fury in play and still have Invert. I don't know. And if they don't have a counter spell, passing is good. I think passing is better more often. If they had Stone Nothing, Fury puts them to dead, but yeah, no, I think they're double checking on if this is interesting. I think I let this resolve. And you're pathing my Fury. Interesting. Now it's getting less and less likely they have a counter. I think that's fine too. Now if I draw a land, I can Fury and Invert. And they drew Triumph. I wonder if they Miracle. If they don't have a counter spell, they almost can't cast Triumph. Because if I invert it and they don't have a counter, they lose. Okay, so they drew Triumph because it long stopped on their draw step and previous turns has just gone straight from their upkeep to their main. And so my read is they don't have a counter because they know I have invert and they didn't cast Triumph. So now I'm pretty certain they don't have a counter. And that puts us in a pretty good position. Wow. I think we just have to Fury here, but it's so tempting to Blood Moon. Just put us too low. So they do have something. Wow, lose focus replicated. Interesting. I'm confused why they didn't miracle the replicated twice, which is what they needed because I could have paid one and forced one. All right, well, now we're in big trouble. They sort of just had it all, but when you cast Recall, that's often what happens. But yeah, I'm confused as to why they didn't miracle the Triumph. Pretty much need exactly Brotherhood's End, I think, or Recall into the stones. But now our Force of Will's shut off. We're on like 1% or less to win at this point. I think. Yep. Can do nothing about it. Consider. Not that one. Flame of Anor does not do it. I don't think there's anything we really could have done or should have done differently. We can look back on it after, but I think that was just one where they got us. I'm going to keep this one lander with Tamiyo. We also have Lorien Revealed, which is a secret second land. We have Bolt. Tamiyo will hopefully get us some cards. But this matchup isn't like the best Tamiyo matchup because of the density of removal in their deck, but it's still just hard to pass up. Now, that game was really close because if we were like even like maybe I should have tried to fight over one of the removal spells maybe, because I ended up having Invert and Force, which I just never cast. So yeah, maybe I needed to be more aggressive with those, but oh yeah. Fire Verge adds red. Had the Bolt. Never lucky. What you gonna do? I'm just gonna cycle this now, get Thundering Falls and Surveil. Need a land. Our hand is pretty clunky now. We have a Bolt, which is a saving grace. Alright, they're also probably low on lands, which is good for us. They're not bolting themselves. I'm just gonna play the Dreadhorde, and if they want to counter it, they can. If they want to remove it, they can. But I think we just need to use our mana because we're gonna be short on it. Looks like they are as well though, which is good. Drawing like Ponder or Preordain would be ideal. Chain Lightning not exactly ideal. I mean, we'll get our point in. I will not cast it, as there is but one target, and it is my own thing. Yeah, we just yeah, we really needed to be the one to hit land first. I think this puts them in a really good position. All right, I'm gonna Brainstorm. A little risky, but we get 2 shots at it potentially. Unreal. Had the exile counter, which, I mean, what are you gonna do? Need them to stop hitting land drops. Nope. Teferi's pretty good. If we hit land, we're in fine shape still, provided they don't have like another counter. Okay, that's good. Chain Lightning the Teferi. If they have a counter, I can fetch and then bolt the Teferi, so. Get our Dreadhorde back in play. Maybe they have Spell Snare. Probably just getting a Surveil though. Yeah. Alright, so we're in like somewhat fine shape. The Teferi was like pretty medium. We got Dazed. Such is life. We're 1 land off doing some really good things. Not the worst. If they don't cast anything that I care about, which forces me to counter, I am just gonna draw 2, discard 1. I am fine fighting over this. I think our hand is pretty well set up to deal with the board for the most part. We have Bolt, Snap, Bolt if we need it, which deals with most things. Basically exactly not that one though. Just aggravating. What's the best way forward? I think we're gonna just play one of these things, probably the Memory Deluge, because if we can ever resolve this River Regent, that's like one of our best answers to Murktide. Reprieve is an annoying one for that. Do we try to go for Pyrogoyf plus Bolt? Do we wait one more turn? Snapcaster doesn't really do anything currently. Yeah, so like our options are just try to cast one of these things again. I think we go for Pyrogoyf Bolt, because if they deal with it and we draw a land, then we get to River Regent. Don't have like, I had Spell Pierce. I could have played around it by going the other way. That was maybe better. All right, we need to hit a land. We're getting fourth. Wrath for 4. Okay. So if we hit land, we're actually in fine shape again. Can recast the Murktide, but it would only be a 5/5. Just need to hit land or something that keeps us alive. Brazen Boar would be a good hit. Dress Down does not do it. Is there anything in our graveyard? Nope. We lose. Unlucky. Well, unfortunate. I think we lost what is probably a favorable matchup. They drew very well. We drew only okay, and that's how it goes sometimes. All right. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the third match. All right. Welcome back for game or round 3 of the Blue Moon Trios event. This is a pretty reasonable hand to keep in the dark. I suspect my opponent is playing like a combo Reanimator Breach deck, but I am not certain. They're also known for playing really aggressive, like fast mana decks, so I don't think we're in the business of mulliganing hands such as these. And if they are on the combo plan, hopefully our combination of Consider and Stock Up can help us in that regard. Yeah, so I think this all but confirms they're on the Hoarding Broodlord through the Breach shenanigans. Ponder, I will keep. Riptide is kind of nice. Memory Lapse is good. I kind of want this island too. I want all of these. Which order? If I get hand attacked, I don't really want the memory lapse. I think I want Thought Scour last, probably. Then lapse, then island. No. I'll play island to look scary. I don't know, maybe I should have played mountain so I could bolt something if necessary, but it seems unlikely to me that that will come up, but you never know. They haven't tutored or anything, but they did keep 7 cards. So I think I'm just gonna chill for now and not stock up. I'll hold up this lapse. Good chance they're just going for another surveil land here. Well, the fact that they can probably figure out by this point that I'm on Blue Moon may mean they want to think about basics, but no. I think this is probably the smart play too. Thinking on this surveil. Keeping on top. Okay. It's likely that this lightning bolt is getting pointed at the dome at some point. Watergrave tapped. 2 mana Profane Tutor. Okay, sure. That might have been what they surveilled. Real chance. Here, what do we want to do? I could play Mountain and stock up, keeping up Thought Scour / Bolt. I could just keep up all of Lapse, Thought Scour, Bolt. If I do that and I don't need to spend the Lapse, then next turn I can stock up with Lapse back up. Alright, no matter what, I think I'm Thought Scouring this turn. So let's do that and give me some more info. Sure, I think I'm fine passing. And then next turn we'll do some stuff and things. So maybe this turn was the turn to do it because they're without a Profane Tutor this turn, so they're like kind of incentivized to not do a whole lot this turn because they get a free spell next turn. We'll see what happens. 3 mana. Move this away. Spell Seeker. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good candidate for a memory lapse, I think. It's nice because if they want a Profane Tutor, the Seeker gets shuffled away. Okay. I think we just basically got a stock up. Recall, not the worst. Magus, good if I don't die. We really just need Force of Will / negation. Yeah, and I think we recall now because if we hit a cantrip or something, I want to basically just full bricked. That's Unfortunate. What you gonna do? Pretty reasonable chance we die here, but we'll see. Just didn't quite find enough interaction. Maybe keeping off the ponder was a little greedy. Well, we found the lapse off the ponder, and the thought scour was also good. It's possible that going for expressive iteration instead of stock up would have been good, because then moons would have been live hits. But I think that's sort of results oriented thinking. Oh, dang. I assume they win, but yeah. They do need an other card. And so if they have to death again, we can potentially win. I think it's unlikely, but we shall see. Because now I think they get to go get a... Okay, here's the saw in half. And then they get to go get breach. And whatever else they want. I still need another tutor. All right, they can just keep sawing in half to get more things. Just gonna silence me now. Sure, we'll concede to that one. Yeah. Maybe a couple things I could have done differently, but I think we got maybe slightly unlucky there. This is better. We have pressure and a force of will. And this ledger shutter will let us get rid of this unholy heat, so I think this one's a keeper. It's not especially exciting, but it's not the worst either. mulligan to 6. This Unholy Heat was like a Ponder or a Preordain. We would be cooking with gas. Alright, so they started on 6. Taken 3 and passing. Interesting. So that says like opt or consider. Something of that nature to me. Gotta get our threat in play. Mental note, sure. Like to see the Thoughtseize getting milled. That would have been bad news bears. Hand attack would be pretty bad at this point for us. Really reliant on this force. Two mana. DT. Well, there aren't a lot of things I want to counter, but I think this is probably one of them. I think there's a pretty good chance they kept the hand on the back of the DT, so I think countering it is that's pretty prudent at this point. I can go Chain Lightning you Unholy Heat my Dingus to loot, but that doesn't seem especially good at this point, so I think we'll do nothing this turn and reevaluate next turn if that's something we really want to do. But we're in some trouble here. Need to hope their hand was kind of reliant on that DT, which they're doing nothing, so maybe it was. Okay, we'll play out the Bloodstained Mire because I can go get the Surveil land, so that's nice. They do have Consider. But they haven't been able to do too much sculpting. Like, Mental Note just gets them a random card, and we countered the DT. So, I don't feel especially threatened yet, but we'll see how that goes for us. Get Thundering Falls. That's just the ticket. If we play out this Cascade Bluffs, we have the option to kick this and cast another 1-mana spell. And I think I am going to do that. So, on the off chance we need like a Spell Pierce or something. I don't think it's dire enough that we need to do it on our main phase, but alright, what's happening? Maybe they have their own consult. Gifts ungiven, target me. Well, that is pretty dire. Okay. Feels like the time is now. I think we want lose focus and misstep. And we have to let that resolve. Unfortunately. I guess I could have gone for the unholy heat on my bird. Yeah, that was probably correct to do. Once again, it feels like we were sort of just one. Alright. So. Yeah, this sucks. I think we just lose again. Well, I guess we need to loot into something good. So I should give them Savine's Wreck and Silence, I guess. Oh, I think I did that backwards. I do that every time. Such stupid wording. If I find Force of Negation here, I'm going to look like a bit of an idiot, but alright. Changes nothing. Yes, we get to misstep this one. So our punt actually maybe saves us. Because now it gives us an out to loot into Force of Negation. If we hit it, that's silly. Unfortunate. Yeah, we die. Barbecued. All right. Well, disappointing results in the end. Went 1 and 2. We beat Medium Red in the first round. Lost to Jeskai in the second round. Kind of just classic. Jeskai had it all, and then we got comboed out by Algati in the third round. It was my first time playing against the deck, so I probably made a few mistakes. But I think I played pretty reasonably. Maybe in that matchup got a touch unlucky as well, but what are you gonna do? That's Magic. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next one. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and or leaving a comment. We at least read all the comments if we respond to a good percentage as well. So yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments, and maybe let me know if you were playing in this format, a trios format, not unified or anything, so no restrictions. What deck would you bring?